Welcome to my channel. Today we're diving into one of the most haunting psychological thrillers of the 21st century, The Others, 2001. A film that will send chills down your spine and make you question everything you thought you knew about ghosts and the supernatural. With an IMDb rating of 7.6, this chilling masterpiece directed by Alejandro Amenábar is not just a typical ghost story, it's a deep dive into grief, guilt, and the shocking reality that lies beyond our understanding of life and death. Set against the eerie backdrop of a remote English mansion, The Others takes us on a terrifying journey into the world of Grace Stewart, a mother trying to protect her children, Anne and Nicholas, from a mysterious, dark force that haunts their family home. But this isn't your usual haunted house flick. As Grace fights to keep her children safe from the unseen dangers lurking in the shadows, she soon realizes that the true terror may lie not in the supernatural, but in something far more disturbing, the truth about her family's past. What begins as a tense and atmospheric story filled with the dread of an old creaking house and the ominous presence of the unseen soon unravels into a web of deception, confusion, and mind-bending twists. The film beautifully plays with our expectations and builds suspense, leaving us questioning what's real and what's not. From the unsettling silence that permeates the house to the eerie sounds that echo through its empty halls, The Others keeps us on edge with every passing moment. But it's not just the haunting atmosphere that captivates us. It's the complex emotional depth of the characters, particularly Grace, as she grapples with her sense of loss and denial. The performances, especially by Nicole Kidman, are nothing short of mesmerizing, drawing us into this mysterious and dark world. So grab your blankets, turn off the lights, and prepare yourself for a mind-bending journey through a world where the line between the living and the dead becomes increasingly blurred. Let's step into the shadows of The Others and uncover the terrifying truth lurking behind the mansion's walls. The movie begins with a woman named Grace who wakes up screaming from a nightmare. She lives in a large mansion with her two children, Nicholas and Anne. Grace's husband, who had been part of World War II, had died, leaving her to take care of the entire household and her children. After a while, a girl named Lydia arrives at their home. Lydia is mute and has come to work as a servant. Grace shows Lydia around the house, explaining that she cannot manage such a large mansion on her own anymore. The house is eerie and has some strange rules, like the need to close one door before opening the next. The mansion is full of strange, dark corridors with 50 locked doors, each of which can only be opened under specific conditions, depending on where and how you are standing. There is no electricity in the house, as the family has grown used to living without it due to the war. After Lydia has toured the house, Grace tells her to meet her children. However, before Grace allows the children to meet Lydia, she insists that all the curtains in the house be drawn, as she and her children have a condition where they cannot tolerate sunlight. As a result, the children started feeling suffocated and developed blisters due to the lack of sunlight, which worsened their condition. It was clear that neither of them could tolerate sunlight, and no one could offer a solution to their condition. Grace had always made sure that both of her children stayed away from light or sun exposure to prevent their worsening condition. One day while the children were having lunch, Nicholas got very angry because Anne was talking to Mrs. Smith, who was telling her about the past events when she went crazy. This led to a huge argument between the siblings. Grace, however, intervened, trying to calm things down, and explained that Mrs. Smith had worked here before, many years ago. She then took Nicholas and Anne to another room to talk, where she began reading them Bible stories. Grace also advised them to study in separate rooms because these stories were often disturbing to Nicholas. While Grace was talking to the children, Nicholas seemed visibly scared of the stories. Grace tried to reassure him by taking him to the music room. As she left the room, she heard Anne crying. When Grace rushed back to the room, she found Anne not in distress and claiming that something had come to her and was crying. Grace became very angry at Anne, but tried to calm her by explaining that she was just imagining things. That night, the two siblings became even more scared, thinking that someone was in their room. Nicholas and Anne kept hearing strange noises, which intensified their fear. They both ran to the room, feeling the need to hide, but the tension only grew. They believed there were others in the house, and soon they were convinced that something terrible was happening. Grace tried to explain to them that they were overreacting, but her words had no effect. The events became even more disturbing as strange noises started coming from the upper rooms of the mansion. Grace, frustrated by their fears, went upstairs to check, but she couldn't find anything. She returned and tried to calm them down, but the sounds continued. One night, Grace was alone in her room when she heard noises and went upstairs again. She began pulling back the curtains to see what was causing the sound, and suddenly in the mirror she saw something strange. It was then that Grace realized something terrifying, the truth about what had been happening in her home. Grace walks towards the room and finds an album there. As she flips through the album, she notices that all the pictures show people sleeping, and it appears that these pictures were taken while the people were asleep. However, she is soon informed that this is a dead people album, and the photographs were taken by the elderly to preserve the souls of the deceased. These photographs were taken to keep their spirits alive. Grace then hears the sound of a piano playing and the noise of footsteps. When she goes to the music room, she finds it empty, and the door slams shut on its own. She tries to open it again, but finds nothing inside, which causes her great fear. Later, Grace decides to call for help and goes to find someone who can explain the strange happenings. She talks to Mr. Smith and asks if anyone from the family of the person buried in the nearby cemetery could be related to what's happening. Mr. Smith seems to be hiding something, but Grace doesn't press further. Grace finally gets some peace when she meets her husband, James, who returns home, bringing much joy to Grace. She takes him to meet their children, and they are all very happy. However, there's one child, Raina, who seems to be acting strangely. Grace notices that Raina's behavior is odd, and when she looks closer at her hands, she sees the hands of an old woman, which frightens her deeply. When Grace approaches Raina, she is startled to see that Raina's appearance changes, and she turns into an old woman. Grace is furious as she feels like something is very wrong with their home. She goes to her husband to explain the situation, but he doesn't believe her. The situation gets more bizarre when Grace discovers that her husband, Charles, has mysteriously left the house. Grace is devastated and starts to feel like she's losing control. She walks outside and hears praises from people, but instead of feeling comforted, she feels even more terrified. It becomes clear that things in the house are not as they seem. The next day, Grace decides to search the house for answers. She starts looking for clues to understand what is going on, but she can't find anything that makes sense. She finally finds a picture of herself and her children with the deceased from years ago. The realization hits her. She and her children are no longer alive. They had been living with the spirits of the dead all along, and they were trapped in this haunted house. Later, Grace tries to take her children out of the house. But when she goes to the tree outside, she notices that the children are not really there. They are still trapped in the house as spirits. Grace tries to take them with her, but she is too late. The curse of the house has already taken its toll, and there is no way out. Grace, feeling disturbed, reaches the place where she finds a group of people with the old woman. She asks them why they are with her and what they know about what happened. The old woman then responds, "If you are dead, what are you still doing here?" Grace is startled as she realizes that everyone in the room is indeed dead, including her own parents and children. They had been trapped in the house, which was a place for souls of the deceased. Grace then understands that the family members, including her own children, were not alive. They had been trying to contact her in the hopes of leaving the house, but the spirits had trapped them there. The realization dawns that she and her family had been in a supernatural limbo, unable to escape because they were trapped with the restless spirits of the dead. As the story progresses, Victor, who had been living with the family, appears. He is about to leave the house forever. Grace comes to terms with the fact that the house and all of its occupants will never be able to escape the eternal cycle of being trapped with the souls of the dead. The last part of the movie reveals how the spirits were bound to the house, unable to leave or interact with the living in any meaningful way. The final twist is shocking and surreal. The audience learns how Grace's family was living with the spirits unknowingly. It's a tragic conclusion to the story where Grace understands the cycle they were all trapped in, living with the ghosts of their past. And that, my friends, is the chilling and unforgettable journey of The Others, a movie that truly keeps you on the edge of your seat until the very last second. From the eerie atmosphere to the jaw-dropping twist, this film is a perfect example of how suspense, mystery, and emotion can come together to create something truly memorable. What did you think of that shocking revelation at the end? Did it completely blow your mind like it did mine? If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to dive deeper into more thrilling films with jaw-dropping twists, don't forget to hit that like button. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more epic movie explanations. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Did you catch all the clues, or was the twist something you never saw coming? Let's keep the conversation going. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep your lights on, because you never know what might be lurking in the shadows. Stay safe, stay spooky, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.